What is mental health? I know lately I've been hearing it a lot in the radio, on TV, the mainstream. You hear stars from entertainment talking about it. You even hear the NFL and the sports industry talking about it. You hear the medical field talking about it more, schools talking about it more, even churches having this topic of mental health as a message. Mental health is truly nothing but life. I know that we as a society are starting to open up to mental health more. There was a time where mental health was taboo or looked down upon to the point where people did not even want to seek counseling. As far as I know, my culture at least, and other cultures that I know of, like to keep everything in home. I don't know about you, but the cultures I grew up in would tell me, whenever there was an issue going on or there was something happening in the family, okay, we're going to talk about it in the family. We're going to keep it in the family. If anybody outside the family asks you about this, tell them to come talk to me. Those are some of the messages, that you hear sometimes growing up in our cultures. And oftentimes you were thought of as crazy or that there was something wrong with you if you had to go see a therapist. So that time has changed. We are here now. Time has changed. Mental health is truly just life. And people ask me oftentimes, what is mental health? It happens to be an industry that I not only consult in, but I also own a company in. I used to be a social worker. Although I was a criminal justice major, my focus was mental health, the human development, the development of humans. And mental health to me is truly just life. We use the word mental health to maybe give it a topic, but in all actuality, I want to show you how mental health is just truly life. Things happen to us in life that we don't have control over. Trauma, upsets, childhood trauma. We move. Some of us have had to move from state to state as a kid. Some of us have lost people, grief. Some of us, our parents have divorced. You know, um, we, we've lost someone close to us. Well, that all of those things that happen to us, it's just life. And a lot of times there are things in life that we don't have control over. The things that we don't have control over oftentimes impact us emotionally. And when things impact us emotionally, they affect our heart. It's our heart. Emotions are attached to our heart, attached to our feelings. Our heart is attached to our mind, our brain. When you feel something, you feel it with your heart. So oftentimes people think that you can say whatever to me, you can put me down, you can use language to me, and words are nothing. We can just toss them away. We can brush them off. Well, that's not true. Words, um, situations that happen to us, betrayal, letdowns, trauma, all these things that just happen in life, daily life, they affect our heart first. From our hearts, it then moves to our brain and we start to process them. Now, all of us process trauma, hurt, letdowns, disappointments. We all process that stuff differently, but we do process it. Some of us have not healed over some of these things that have happened to us. We've just simply tucked them away in our hearts. So when you tuck things away in your heart and you never truly heal the heart becomes heavy. And once the heart becomes heavy, the mind becomes heavy. Am I touching you today with this topic? Juicy conversations that no one wants to talk about. You may be listening to us today and you may be thinking to yourself, yep, I have some hurts. I can think of some childhood trauma. I could think of some things that have happened to me that I'm still hanging on to that someone did to me that I had no control over. And it made me upset. It made me mad. It made me cry, maybe cry behind closed doors, but it affected me. If that's you today, I want you to know that you have to face the things that have hurt you, the things that have caused your mind to wander at night, the things that keep you frustrated, that keep you mad, that is mental health. Believe it or not, life is just simply mental health. So these are the upsets of life that sometimes, when they are not addressed, can actually cause a mental breakdown in our minds. Yes, this is facts. Mental health falls under the medical field. So let's stop for a moment and think about this. We go to doctors for our physical health. We go to dental for our dental health, dentists for our teeth. The physical strength that we have, or if we break something or if something hurts, we go to a doctor. What happens and who do we go to when our heart is hurting, when our mind is hurting? And I'm not talking about a spiritual talk today. Never taken away from the fact that we can go to God. Do that first. Do that first. And then sometimes there is something called mental health where it will consume you because the hurt was so core crushing that you pray about it, you left it there, and then it seeped back in. You prayed about it, you left it there, you seeped back in. You talked to a friend, it came back to you again. You thought you let it all go, and then something triggered, and then you didn't know it was down inside of you, and it triggered it, and whoop, there you go again. Hey, that emotion is familiar to me. Mental health is just life. I'm here today to talk to you and to soften your thinking around this concept of mental health. I wish that the world would actually begin to realize that when you have an upset, a mental frustration, you're walking around angry, I want you to not get stuck in, oh, that's a mental health issue. Because with today, the way it's trending, that's the way it's going. Everyone wants to blame things on mental health. I don't want us to get stuck in just quickly blaming things on mental health, because what's going to happen is you'll be stuck with that and you'll just say, oh, that's mental health. Okay, but where does mental health go? It goes into a box in our lives? No, these are serious things that happen to us that need to be acknowledged. They need to be talked about. They need to be addressed, and they need to be healed. They need to be let go of. We need some sort of way of learning how to heal it. Like I said, when you have a hurt in your body, you go to the doctor to get medicine for it, to heal that, to fix it so that it no longer bothers you. Same thing in mental health. Who do you go to? Our society has put mental health or therapists or psychiatrists or medication over untouchable. It only belongs to people that really need it. When all actuality, all of us have some sort of mental health need. But today we're calling it mental health. I want to take mental health off the table. If you ask me what it is, I simply say it's just life. These are life occurrences. And the challenge is knowing what to do when these things happen to us. See, we don't have something called a life skill. No one teaches us a life skill in school. There's no institute for you to go to learn a life skill. Life skill or an emotional skill set is when something happens to you in life that you have no control over, that is just jarring or soul piercing, and you don't have the tool or the skill set to overcome it. How do you talk yourself out of feeling depressed or down? How do you deal with this anxiety that you've never had in the past? But because of some sort of onset of trauma that happened to you, you now have this anxiety. And anxiety, depression, um, thoughts of suicide, thoughts of us being someone different than we are, hearing voices, all of these things uh, come to us in our mental. So we call it mental health. And here's the challenge with everything I'm telling you. Sometimes we just have normal life things that happen. All of us go through it. But if we don't address it and we don't have a place to go to truly heal it and look at it and take it apart and understand where it comes from and breathe life into it and feel angry and mad and know that it's okay, then these things will develop into something called mental health. a mental health issue, and you will have to go and seek the help. I'm here today to challenge you all. I want you to think about this. What if we just started talking more to the people in our lives instead of holding in some of this hurt, some of this mistrust, some of these things that weigh us down in our heart? What if we had support systems in place to get some of this stuff out so that it didn't compile and cause complexities in our mind? What if talking to a therapist was just like talking to a friend? Think about it. What if going to a therapist was just like going to a doctor? Just like going to a lawyer to fix something or going to the dentist to fix a toothache. We don't think bad about having to go to a dentist. We don't think bad about, oh, I'm going to have a doctor's appointment today, or oh, I have a dentist appointment today, or oh, I'm going over here to see this lawyer to help me fix this problem. But if we say, oh, I'm going to see a therapist, oh, then it's kind of like the whole family and friends like, okay, well, what's wrong with you? I'm here today to tell you that if you have to go see a therapist, there's nothing wrong with you. In all actuality, the majority of us walking around that haven't seen a therapist, there's something wrong with you. You actually probably need to be the one going to see a therapist. Therapists are just like doctors, they just deal with the mental health, not the physical health. Oh, yeah, and don't get me started on that because those 2 actually go together. Your mental health and your physical health somehow collide and impact each other. Give you a live, solid example. Have you ever known anyone, now I know it's not you, but have you known anyone that held on to anger so long, or they held on to an upset from childhood so long that it turned into a hatred, a sickness towards someone, towards the perpetrator? And so inside of them, they almost started growing what I call a bitter root. And it began to take over their mind. And now they walk around and they're constantly angry. And everyone around them is catching hell because of one person's impact on them. When you do not stop to look at the hurt and address it, this thing can overtake your health, your physical health. Did you know that one of the biggest issues behind cancer is stress? Yeah, there are free radicals moving throughout our bodies, right? And if you don't know this by now, some of those things turn into cancerous cells. And then a lot of times, what they'll tell you is the 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 agitation of that cell is caused by stress, and that is what makes it move rapidly through the body. That's one of the things that can happen. Not everything, but just one of the things that can happen, and it can affect your body. Stress at a high level, depression and not eating can affect your nutrition, or the opposite. I was talking to a friend today, and she to not eat. She was like, I'm not one of those. She goes, Stress for me causes me to eat. And I become obese and overweight because I run towards food for comfort." That one statement alone is proof enough for you. You should be able to look at yourself and say, you know what, that's true. When I'm hurt or I'm feeling down or I'm not feeling quite right, inadequate, or if I'm in a relationship and I'm feeling insecure, I may shop a lot. It may affect my wallet. I may eat too much. It affects my weight. Or I may do the opposite and not eat. And it still affects my health and my nutrition. Your mental health is definitely tied to your physical health. And therefore, mental health falls under the medical field, although it just sits off on its own island. So I want to begin to make life health normal. Life health normal. If you step into any one of my facilities, they do not feel like a facility where a therapist would be. My offices feel like VIP experiences. And they feel as if when you walk in them, you're going into a conference or an event hall. Yeah, because it's normal to sit and talk about life. It just so happens that a therapist specializes in it. It's no different than a doctor specializing in disease or healing or doing surgery. or a dentist who does oral exams, right? There's is no different. And so I want to talk to you and really get you to understand the fact that mental health is truly just life health. So if you're watching this, you're listening to this stuff today, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, you know what? That's me. I got some stuff going on internally and I have not healed it. And you've been feeling bad because people have told you, go see a therapist. You need to see a therapist. And you feel bad about it. Stop feeling bad. It's just life. And these are things that we need to talk about more and get out of us more and heal more. And I truly, truly, truly believe the sooner, quicker, faster that we can take this concept or this trending of mental health language off the table and just call it life, and the fact that we need a skill set to deal with life, the sooner we can understand that, the faster the majority of us can heal. The faster this world can get towards healing and move away from this hatred that sometimes is bubbling up inside of individuals and translates into actions and fighting and killing and physical stuff. Yeah, this is just life, guys. Mental health is just simply life. So the next time someone comes up to you and talks to you, say, hey, I got to see a therapist, or you tell them, don't be afraid to talk about it because there's nothing wrong with you. The truth is that we have had things that have happened to us that is wrong. It's not who we truly are. We just need the skill set to know how to talk through some of this stuff and heal over it. Mental health is just life.